Our next guest is joining a growing list of lawmakers calling for President Biden to step down over the crisis created in Afghanistan, releasing a statement saying in part the Biden administration's chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan has endangered American lives and emboldened our adversaries. As the president has said repeatedly, the buck stops with him, and I agree. The buck must stop here. Stop there. President Biden has demonstrated that he is unfit to serve as commander-in-chief and therefore must resign. Joining us now to discuss, Republican Congresswoman from Indiana, Jackie Walorski. Congresswoman, I know that this may be your political position. We don't want to be naive about it and actually think that Nancy Pelosi is going to come back to town, number one, early, or even if she does, to say, okay, we're going to kick him out of office. So what do you hope to accomplish with this?
Yeah, let me tell you, this is so far removed from politics. This is a devastation that we're watching in this country. And as a member of Congress, of course, I'm getting calls all over my district, and we all are from all over the country, do something. That this commander-in-chief can no longer be trusted. And I think that, history is reporting what's happening here. I absolutely want to be on the record when somebody looks back at this and says, where were these lawmakers when this happened? And I want history to know, I want my district to know, and the rest of the country to know, I do not approve this. I do not think that President Biden is fit to be able to lead this country out of this disaster, and I think he needs to resign. And I think that what you're hearing calls around the country, our American people are devastated. They're trying to wrap their arms around their mind to answer the question, what is he doing? We just lost the blood of our Marines and our enlisted yesterday, and we're watching this play out on TV. I mean, the American people are enough is enough. And I think that, I just think we got to tell the truth. We need to be truthful about what's happening today. And we need to take responsibility for the actions of a president when he's not doing anything to get us out of a situation. What he's done is opened up a new terrorist hotbed. The world is not safer in what he's done in the last couple of weeks. The United States is certainly not safer what he's done in the last couple of weeks, and he seems to have no plan as to how to get us out. And we all heard Secretary Panetta talk about the fact that we're going to have to go back in and fight. This is a disaster. It's a mess, and I lay it squarely at the feet of President Biden.
Congresswoman, my sources are telling me that leaders in the military as well are asking for the president's cabinet and the vice president to meet and discuss whether or not President Biden is fit to continue in office, fit mentally to make the decisions and represent the country in the way that he needs to. You mentioned what will happen after August 31st, and we heard Jen Psaki just say earlier that that would be dependent on diplomatic efforts and cooperation of the Taliban to get anyone else out that still needs to be taken out of Afghanistan and Kabul specifically. What have you heard from Democrats in terms of what is happening?
I haven't heard a whole lot from Democrats, but I will tell you that I think when we're watching this on TV live with all of you, and we're seeing the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, talking about negotiating with the Taliban, for those of us that were alive, when we saw al-Qaeda attack New York and the devastation of 9/11, I realized it was almost 20 years ago. But talking about making huge mistakes that's endangering the lives of our military, our people, and a whole new battleground in this whole conversation about going to the Taliban for mercy, going to the Taliban for defense and for help. This is an outrage. And I think that Democrats need to stand by Republicans. I think in a bipartisan way, we need to come out and talk about the security and safety of the United States of America, because that's where everybody's focus should be. And getting every American and every one of our allies out of there, doing everything we can. We, and as members of Congress, I think, Heather, have to hold the president accountable. That's our job. And I think we're just doing our job because we're hearing the cries from our fellow Americans who want him to do the job of getting us out of this disaster.
A lot of people live in the heartland of America feel like their voices aren't heard in Washington. Their voices aren't heard in the metropolises like New York.
True.
You're right in the heartland in Indiana. What do you want to tell them inside the Beltway that they need to understand, especially related to what's going on in Afghanistan?
That this isn't a talking point. This isn't politics. That the American people in this country and in the Midwest where I come from, I'm hearing from hundreds of people just about every single day. This is reality. This is really happening. This isn't rhetoric. It's not political buzzwords. People are watching this in their living room at night when they come home from work, and they're remembering all the horrific battles and wars that we fought to keep the battle of terrorism off the American shores. They're remembering that. This is the heartland for military as well. You know, I have people in my district right now that are so concerned about their family and their young people and men and women that are fighting right now at Kabul airport. So, you know, Midwest doesn't get involved in hyper politics. Midwest understands this is real, this is playing out, and we should never stand by when American blood is shed and not fight for our country and for our military, who's going out there and doing a phenomenal job because their commander-in-chief told them to. But this is a disgrace and lays at the feet of the commander-in-chief.
Let's pull this sound up from just a short time ago. Jen Psaki responding to people like you who are calling for President Biden to resign. Listen.
Seeing some of this occur or be called for or be put out on Twitter, you know, the backdrop here is the U.S. men and women of the military deployed on the ground are bravely continuing to implement a mission to save lives on the ground. American citizens, Afghan partners, many people that some of these same individuals are calling for us to evacuate. Yesterday, they lost 13 of their own, and the president made absolutely clear that we are going to hunt down, go after, and kill the terrorists who are responsible. Everyone should be supportive of that.
Does that answer satisfy you?
No, because for every single enlisted part of our military that's out there fighting, the ones that just shed their blood, the ones that just gave the ultimate sacrifice, we owe them a debt of gratitude. They're doing phenomenal. They are heroes. But as members of Congress, we don't work for the president. We don't answer to Joe Biden. I answer to almost 1 million people in the state of Indiana that literally are reaching out and saying, do whatever you can do to stop what's happening. And you know what? That's where the calls come from. That's what I do. And that's who I work for. And I'm delivering that message. And I told them I would deliver that message today for all of them and for all of us that are watching this happen, that want this to stop and do not believe that President Biden can get out of this. He has to be held accountable. He's walking around saying, the buck stops with me, the buck stops with me. Well, then let's stop the buck right here, right now, and leave.
All right. Congresswoman Jackie Walorski, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, both of you.
All right.